Greetings, I'm Janet Camarena, Director for Foundation Center San Francisco, and I'm pleased to conduct this interview featuring Jun Sugiyama, Director, Vodafone Americas Foundation, as part of our How Tech Gives series, which illuminates the grant-making strategies and community engagement work and corporate social responsibility of tech companies. And so, Jun, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
My first question for you relates to your wireless innovation project, and that's the focus of today's interview because I know the deadline is fast approaching.
Yes.
So tell us about the wireless innovation project. What are its key goals? Who's eligible to apply? And what's the timing like?
Great. So the Wireless Innovation Project was started by our foundation about 7 years ago, and it's a competition to seek the best wireless innovation to make social impact. What we're looking for is anything that involves mobile or wireless that can make a positive change in the world. And that's because Vodafone is an international wireless company, and we're on every continent. And we also have 27 foundations, all running Mobile for Good projects. But here in the U.S., I run the foundation, and we thought that we'd run this competition just to see in the very beginning what's out there. We're looking for any wireless innovation that can make a social impact that is at late stage, either research, prototype, or testing stage. And the reason that we're specifically looking for an innovation in that stage is because we're not a VC. We don't have a bottomless kind of funds, from seeing a product from beginning to end. But we also wanted to be able to see something get to market, and for us to be able to move the needle for them. And so that's why we decided to do the competition model, and that's why we're looking for that stage.
And in the category of who is eligible to apply, is there any other criteria about whether it's nonprofit, for-profit? Because the market element is unique in the space.
It's very unique. So we're a corporate foundation, so we're nonprofit. And so we would prefer to provide funds to a nonprofit organization. So if your innovation is from a university or a school, or if you're an NGO, because there's a lot of innovation happening in the ground level, you're free to apply, no problems. If you're an entrepreneur or you have a B Corp business or something like that, what we do ask for is that you have a nonprofit partner, and we can fund through the partner. And as you know, a lot of our winners are, developing products. And I think the end result is that we would hope that they would reach market in whatever way possible, whether it's later on to create a company of their own or partner with a huge NGO, anything.
So that market element, again, is unique, and you're interested in taking them to scale in whatever permutation or shape that takes, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit.
That's right.
Okay. And as you mentioned, the mobile aspect is a big element of this, and in fact, on your website it says that Vodafone Americas Foundation is committed to the theme of mobile for good. So along those lines, how have you seen some of the wireless innovations that have come out of former years' projects affect positive change in the world?
Sure. Well, first of all, when you think about mobile, it's a little bit different in the U.S., but certainly in developing countries where there's not much infrastructure and they're low resourced, that's about the only tool that's ubiquitous all over the place.
Right, it's a lifeline.
And so, a lot of the tools that are being used by people in development or larger NGOs are mobile-based. And so definitely if we access that, we'll be able to impact change. So some of the products or some of the solutions that have come out of our competition, there is a financial management tool for the poor. The founder, Shivani Soroya, who runs InVenture, created Insight, which educates people on managing their finances and then provides access to banking. I mean, she really realized that poor people do not stay poor because they don't have money. As a matter of fact, they do have money. They work 2 jobs, 3 jobs,
Right.
and every member of the family works. But they haven't had access to banking, or they haven't had education on how to manage their finances. And so she's not only created that kind of financial management tool, she's gone on to provide micro-lending, microfinancing, partner with corporations and banks. There's another solution called Cold Trace, which follows the cold chain distribution of vaccine. She's able to use this tool that monitors the temperature of the transport of vaccines and uses the mobile phone to be able to monitor and to send messages back and forth. And then there's, of course, Mobile Sense that detects pollutants in the water and allows you to be a social media guru to create impact in the environment. It's like a tool, a little square tool that we have, for credit cards, but it's
Right.
very similar to that. That's adapted and stuck onto a smartphone, and then you can test water through that.
So you could test water quality if
you
you're
can
not
test
sure if the water's
quality.
safe.
Yeah, and then use social media to be able to map it, and then to rally people around it. We have mobile microscopes. People ask, well, why would that be a great innovation? Well, as you know, in low-resourced areas, there are no clinics, rarely doctors, mainly field health workers. And this allows them to be able to take blood samples or body fluid samples and send that data to a clinic and then get diagnosis.
Well, those are some great examples, and certainly not the usual apps we are used to hearing about in the marketplace. It seems like a great way to inspire work to be done to focus on the developing world or even rural areas here.
Right.
So would you say that's one of the lenses through which you evaluate the applications that come into the Innovation Challenge, who benefits? And
yeah, so a lot of people ask me, do you only look for solutions that can be used in developing countries? Actually not. We look for solutions that can be duplicated, so that the money expended to try to develop a product, can just increase in multitudes, right, to be used anywhere in the world. I can give you an example of one innovation that's happened here.
here in San Francisco?
Yeah, it's called Smart Diaphragm, created by UCSF. And this one, OB-GYN surgeon, prenatal surgeon, he conducts surgery within the womb, found out that a woman's chemistry changes when she's about to deliver. So, he was thinking, if only we can detect that before it's too late, because by the time when a woman feels that she's going to deliver, it's really too late. So he happened to meet an IT person by accident at a meeting or something and said, if only we could do that. And they created this application here to be able to detect the chemical change in the body, a woman's body. So then once that happens, that emergency message can be sent to the woman's phone and create an alert, or to her husband, or directly to the doctor or the hospital, so that they can be prepared. And so they're actually testing it here in the U.S. Usually it's the other way around, but once they succeed here, they can actually deploy it in developing countries, which, as you know, is really, really important, because in low-resourced areas, a premature baby that's delivered usually has 0 to 2% chance of surviving.
And you can be hours or days away from support.
Right.
That's great. And it's interesting. The other interesting thing about the Innovation Prize or the Innovation Project is it is a prize or competition, which I think when it was started was fairly unique in the field, and we've seen more of these competition frameworks used by many tech companies. So what do you think is causing that to be kind of the new way that tech companies engage in philanthropy, and why did you choose that framework?
Right. So I love to be asked about that. It's really my bag because we created this competition from the ground up.
Right. What year was it?
It was like 7 years ago, right? And we thought we were geniuses because we thought of this bright idea. But actually, there's a lot of contests going on now, and actually, contests are getting a bad rap. People think that there's too many of them, and people think that it's not effective. Maybe some of them aren't because the prizes are a little bit too small. Mm-hmm. But certainly the recognition that you get from winning a prize, number one, is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And I think the other downside is a lot of people run competition to bubble up good ideas rather than looking for the one specific thing that they could fund and, like I said, move the needle. So then the people who don't win, the masses of people who don't win are frustrated or they don't necessarily have that quite bit of recognition that you need. Initially, we started out years ago by providing scholarships to universities to stimulate interest in wireless engineering. And that was all good.
Right, because they were teaching the next generation of engineers.
Right,
so.
we wanted to create more engineers, homegrown engineers here. And, we conducted site visits and found, we were a little bit frustrated with that. We found that the universities were all working on the same thing, obviously because they're competing with each other for funds. Mm-hmm. They were all hitting the same ceiling, and they weren't working together. So by running a competition, we're able to really be specific what we're looking for. And what we're looking for, is certainly something really great and innovative, which we found in the universities were stuck in the basement for 10 years, and they were just fine with it being stuck for 10 more years. We really wanted to get it to market. So what we look for is cross-collaborative, cross-disciplinary, that the team includes their constituents, or at least have spoken to their constituents, have a business plan or framework for a business plan, a financial plan, and if they get selected, they have to come in person, and what we look for at that time is that the team or the individual who represents the team is engaging, because if you're not able to convince these judges, about your passion, you're not going to be able to convince other funders, right. To be able to promote your solution or your product. And that's another thing about our application is, certainly we're interested in the product or the solution, and you write about that, but we pay more attention to your knowledge of your constituents or the people you are creating the solution for. And we also pay attention about how you are vested or your passion or your interest in creating the change for that population. So it's created specifically to identify that.
So that it sounds like there's some leadership analysis built into your process.
That's right. Well, it's not as complex, but yes. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's necessary for taking any product to scale or market in either the nonprofit, social sector, or for-profit. So what are some lessons from previous wireless innovation cycles as far as what has set apart the winning teams that might serve as valuable tips for first-time participants? You mentioned kind of some of the minimum qualifications you look for, but I'm assuming it's pretty competitive, like all prizes. So is there some secret sauce or some unique things that give people that extra oomph that set them apart?
Well, what I found, and this is definitely not something we went out to seek, but what I found with all of our winners is that they go beyond their own product or solution itself. And what I mean by that is they're not satisfied with just the fact that they've created this product. they've gone on to use the data that comes out of their product or solution to be able to gather that data, to share it so that more people can end up helping certain populations, that they themselves can learn more from it and improve their product. All of them have done that. So
it almost sounds like an open source methodology for some of the teams, so that it can accelerate whatever change.
Right. They value what they're able to get from their solution, not just the fact that they're deploying their product, but to be able to make improvements on it and to be able to share some of that data, even sell some of that data to others who may be able to impact the population even more.
Interesting.
What we look for is not any simple solution like using texting and we're going to send out reminders, or we're going to use texting to send out this kind of information, but something that really builds upon, if you're not creating a new solution, it's something that builds upon the technology that already exists, to be able to engage back and forth, to be able to use the mobile as not only a messaging tool, but something even beyond that. And I think all of our winners fit in that category.
Yeah, clearly mobile can be such a game changer to so many fields, and it sounds like there's not one field that has been dominant in these projects or challenges that you've issued, and that's another aspect I find fascinating, is that it really is multidisciplinary.
Right. I mean, we look for solutions in the field of health, education, access to communication, environment or disaster relief. At one point, we were trying to decide if we should just do one subject or issue area at a time, but then we were worried, what if we miss something that year? What if someone's coming up that year and we miss it? So that's why we opened it to those five areas, and we've found solutions that have come in for not only health, but like the financial tools that we were just talking about, disaster relief and emergency notification systems, and I mean things, environment, taking care of trash, recycling. I mean, incredible things that we've never even imagined.
My last question, because with all philanthropy, the news is not always good, whether it's a competition or traditional RFP proposals, not everybody can win. So what advice might you offer to participants who aren't selected as finalists, yet still show a really potentially game-changing solution that would warrant being taken to market?
I would say apply again.
You do this every year?
Yeah, we do this every year. It's an annual competition. Spiff up your application so that it shows your passion for your constituents.
And people can apply more than once.
People can apply more than once. Having evidence that you have partnership, that you're not working alone, because you really can't in this field. If we don't work for you, there's actually a lot of other competitions, and then a lot of incubators that are around, that supports entrepreneurs, and I would definitely look into them as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much, June, for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. And we'll share on our website any changes to the deadline information, if there are any, and we'll also use that as a platform to share the winners when they're
Great.
available.
Thanks a lot, Janet.